Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Care Sandwich. I'm your host, Margarita Eberline, founder of Marketing Boss. And I have a special guest that I'm going to bring on to the virtual stage. And before she comes on, I'm going to ask you to watch this video.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Eberline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Hello, and welcome back to Care Sandwich. I would like my special guest to join me on the virtual stage so she can tell us all about her business and how she helps people. Katherine, welcome. Hi. So welcome to Care Sandwich. Tell our audience who you are, what you do, and why it's cool.
Sure. Hi. Thank you for having me, Margarita. Happy to be here. So my name is Katherine Mayer. I run and own a criminal defense consulting firm here in Austin, Texas. And essentially, I have a team of women who conduct fact investigations and mitigation on death penalty and other serious felonies for criminal defense attorneys. So essentially, it's an investigations firm. We are a full service sort of support team for criminal defense attorneys. We also do jury research and some consulting on the side as well. So yeah, that's sort of a little bit about my firm.
I love that it's women because we've all seen the memes about how we all have that one friend where we want to check somebody out. They can find out anything you want to know about everybody. So I know. So cool. You're like, I'm leveraging this and I'm creating a business. Yeah. So who's your ideal client? Like what types of firm? I mean, you said criminal defense, but like walk us through a little bit more detailed. Like what's your ideal situation where, hey, I can come in and help you with that case?
Sure. So I got my background. I have a graduate degree in forensic psychology, and I started as a death penalty mitigation specialist. And essentially, that is someone who helps build sort of the biological, psychological, and sociological background and historical context of an individual that's charged with the death penalty, which means that they would have had to have been charged with a very serious crime. So it would be my job to learn everything that I can about them from the day that they're born until tomorrow. So understanding who they are and how they got to where they are is what a mitigation specialist does. So we work with attorneys that either do death penalty, are death qualified, or are receiving death penalty cases. Most of them are received through the state. So we work a lot with indigent clients than through the court system. But really any attorney so I started as a death penalty mitigation specialist in-house at the public defender in Miami-Dade. So I was one of 3 mitigation specialists that were in their capital litigation unit. All we handled was death penalty cases in Miami. And that is really how I got my foot in the door in being able to explore this in the private sector. So while I do private work, I get appointed and hired by the court through the attorneys who are handling the cases. So the back end isn't as glamorous, but essentially, I started the business as a mitigation specialist and then sort of realized that there was a need for fact investigators too. So over the years, I really did everything that I could to kind of learn what I could about what it takes to become a really solid and efficient fact investigator for criminal cases. And I grew the firm to sort of be able to assist in everything from guilt, innocence, all the way through sentencing. So now my fact investigators are out doing what law enforcement does for prosecutors, but for the defense. And my mitigation specialists are building the narrative and the story of the client's life that would help sort of secure maybe a better deal, resolve a case out of court, anything that we can find that is mitigating, not to excuse behavior, but to help someone understand how this person ended up where they are. That is what a mitigation specialist does. So ideally, any attorney that needs the investigative piece done in order to either A, help build the case for their client from a guilt innocence perspective, or B, mitigate the charge to help secure a deal. You know, there's so much strategic value in having one, the other, ideally both. And I like the idea of being able to do all of it because it creates more of a holistic approach to criminal defense and allows for us to work more cohesively as a team.
Can criminal attorneys or criminal defense attorneys, excuse me, manage cases without the help of somebody like you? Like, do they do this? Do any of them do this in-house? Is your solution really the best way to do this? Like, walk us through just what's out there with criminal defense attorneys and the way they apply the principles that you're talking about of researching, investigating, being thorough, or do some just skip this step altogether?
Well, some do, and I would argue that they're probably less effective if they skip it. I know that a lot of them do it themselves. Some of them do it themselves. The really good attorneys understand the value in having a strategic partner as a part of their team. But attorneys can't testify, right? So they need people out in the field to be able to conduct the field work and that understand how the legal process works in order to maximize what it is that their case is about. Because we could rely on what the prosecutor and law enforcement gives us all day, but if we did that, we would just be allowing the case to be on their terms. So it's really important that we go out and we speak with the witnesses, the same witnesses that law enforcement spoke to. Perhaps they are a lot of people, and a lot of the time there are individuals out there that the law enforcement has not spoken to that have insight into whether or not something did or didn't take place. So it's really our job, and it's the due diligence of the attorney to make sure that those roads are followed.
I love that. Can you think of a story, obviously maintaining confidentiality, where your work made a difference in a case? Can you walk us through that?
I mean, that is almost every single case.
I know. I know. Not too many details.
No, and I'll give just generalities because the fact of the matter is that in every case that we are working, we are providing some sort of insight. Whether it's even a case where we are confirming what law enforcement said. Let's say we get a case, we've reviewed all of the discovery, and everything that they are saying turns out that we are sort of verifying it on our end by going out and talking to all of the witnesses. You know, like there are cases where it's not really a whodunit. There's maybe video surveillance or whatnot. However, even when we are going out and we are speaking to complaining witnesses or witnesses that are involved, even if they're saying everything and confirming the facts that law enforcement is suggesting, we are able to help the attorney understand, okay, not only is this is really the reality of their case against them. So in that case, the attorney has the ability to go back to the client and say, okay, listen, this is the way that it's shaking out on our end. We really need to talk about, you know, what your options are. So there's value in us confirming. A lot of the time there's conflicting information, in which case that provides us with a better strategy moving forward on arguing the case. But in the event that everything is sort of, that we're not really getting any you know, helpful information that's sort of flipping a case on its head, we're at least providing the attorney with the information that's necessary to go back to the client and say, we need to start talking about how we're going to resolve this.
I gotcha. So Katherine, when you help law firms and law firm owners Is there a specific geography that you serve? Walk us more through that so that if a crim attorney is listening to this and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to work with Katherine and her team, what does that look like? And then how do they get a hold of you?
Hey there, I hope you're enjoying the conversation and your sandwich as much as we are. I want to take a moment to share a few words about our sponsor, Marketing Boss. If you're a law firm owner looking to supercharge your growth, our team at Marketing Boss is here to help. We've got over a decade of experience and a proven track record, and we specialize in growing law firms like yours with data-driven marketing leadership. So if you own a law firm and you're ready to get a predictable, steady flow of cases from your marketing, let's connect at marketing-boss.com.
Yeah, so that is going to be different. So it's every state is different, and then every county is different. So for example, if I were working, and I'm licensed in Texas as a private investigator. So there are some states that don't have licensing. So I can work in those states that don't have licensing for private investigators. There is no licensing for mitigation specialists. So I can easily get appointed to a case anywhere in the country as a mitigation specialist. However, I'm going to be restricted in some ways as a fact investigator. But in Texas, every county is different. So if it's a retained case and I'm getting paid privately, I can work anywhere. But if I am as anywhere except with the licensing restrictions for the private investigator.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so,
So know your licensing restrictions in your area, right?
For sure. Yeah. For example, Colorado doesn't have any licensing for fact investigation, so I can work cases there. And then I can also work as a consultant privately for anyone, anywhere, and as well as a mitigation specialist anywhere. But ideally, or not ideally, but typically I work in the state of Texas, and I have worked in many counties in Texas. I think there's over 200. So I certainly have not hit every county, but I am appointed on cases in all different types or in all different counties in Texas. And we do travel all across the state.
That is wonderful. And how can folks get a hold of you if they want to get started or learn more about how you can help them with their practice?
Yeah, I have a website, McK Mayer Consulting.com. And my phone number is 512-829-1857. You can reach out. There's inquiries on the website or call me.
And out of curiosity, like, did something happen or like that set you on this path? Like, what's your story? Like,
my story,
personal.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. So I always knew that I wanted to be at the intersection of law and psychology. I was volunteering in law firms at the age of 15. And I just knew there was something in the legal arena. I didn't know what yet, but I always had an interest in psychology and the law and sort of like where the two intersect. So when this was before, CSI was a thing, when I was looking for schooling on how can I integrate these two lines of work or pathways. And I Googled one day, what can I do with these things? Or is there something? And I came up with forensic psychology, and that's what the internet told me to do. So I applied to every grad program. At the time, I think there were 5 programs in the entire country that offered a graduate degree in forensic psychology. I applied to all of them. And I ended up going to a small private college in Arlington, Virginia called Marymount. And I thought I was going to go into the FBI. So while I was interviewing, I was on the path to get into the FBI. I was interviewing with them. And then I was simultaneously doing my graduate internship with the Capitol Defender of Northern Virginia, which is where I learned about mitigation. It's a very small, nuanced area of the law. And a lot of people don't really know that it exists. Mm-hmm. So I was interning there, and I realized, oh my gosh, I've just found my passion. So as I completed my internship and my graduate degree, I applied for the job in Miami-Dade as one of their mitigation specialists doing their high-profile death penalty work. And I got it, which is crazy. And from there, it kind of just, I was 26 at the time when I started there. And I just fell in love with it. And by 28, I had gone private. And by 30, I moved to Texas with my car packed and just kind of wanting to start fresh in Texas. So yeah, I've always felt very passionately about this type of work. It's heavy and I feel like it's my purpose. So, I feel pretty lucky to be able to do it every day.
That is awesome. I know, you work with one of the attorneys that we work with, and it makes total sense because she's very thorough, very zealous. Like, we joke about like that one time where she almost got arrested during the case. She was like so passionate about defending her person. So I could see that connection, and I could see how it makes sense. And I could see how if you're a crim attorney and you're passionate about really putting together a strong case for the folks that you're defending, they would want to work with somebody like you. So thank you so much for educating all of us on this area, because I didn't know it was a thing until I met you. So I was like, wait, what? Like, what do you do? So I think this has been great. So Katherine, one last question, and then we'll let you go back to saving lives over there. What is your favorite sandwich? Because after all, this is called the Care Sandwich Podcast.
Oh my gosh, I love sandwiches. They might be my favorite food, like Joey from Friends. I really do love a basic turkey and Swiss. I mean, growing up on the East Coast, my parents are New Yorkers, so like a nice big deli turkey sandwich is right up my alley. It's super boring, but if it's done well, so good.
That's nice. Okay, I'm with it. There you have it, folks. She likes simple sandwiches, but complex cases. So hit her up.
I love it. My new tagline.
It just pours out of me. I don't know. But thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your story. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that those of you listening enjoyed it too. We'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich. Katherine, don't go anywhere. All right, see ya.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and I'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.